guys, welcome to my channel. Thank you for taking your time to stop by and watch my video. Today I want to talk about the NASM CPT exam and in particular about the questions that were covered and how I studied for my exam. I took my test in person. I went to the testing location center. I know it was restricted during the pandemic, but I found out recently that they do the in-person testing, so I went there, but I tried to do the exam remotely at home, but I have to admit I had to face a lot of technical issues when I was trying to do it remotely, and I got at one point so frustrated that I just decided, okay, I'm not going to do it remotely. So whoever is going through the same situation that I faced and had to, struggle, I hope this video will kind of ease your mind and give you some helpful tools. So just to tell you, I know NASM CPT, once you buy it online, you can study the self-study guidebook at home. So I actually did not even buy the actual textbook. I studied with the online self-study, and I really found it helpful because I was able to just, open up my laptop, my desktop, and just study whenever I can. It was flexible in that sense. I was thinking about getting a book and buy it on Amazon, but then I thought, okay, since I purchased the online version of CPT and I paid maybe like $570, so I thought, okay, I don't want to spend additional money on the textbook, and so I was fine, completely fine with the NASM self-study, the online contents. I was studying for the exam I purchased it initially last year in 2020 in April, so I tried to study, but I got married in between and I had to move, so there were lots of circumstances, so I couldn't take it, and I really started studying for the exam later last year. And because of the pandemic, one good thing about the NASM online content was that they actually extended my period of the CPT, the content, so I still have time, so the content is valid until this year in September, which I'm really grateful about to NASM. So yeah, with that in the back of my mind that I had time left to study, I really focused on the NASM exam last year, and I took it. But just to give you a heads up and tell you a little bit about myself, I try to take the exam remotely at home 2 times. But as I said, I had to face so much trouble with the technical part through ProctorU. I called NASM and I told them how frustrated I am because I had a webcam, I have my personal desktop and computer, and I don't know, for whatever reason, it would just not work. So I got almost so mad. I thought, okay, never ever am I going to do it remotely. And because I'm someone who is more, motivated and I pay more attention, I stay better focused when I actually go to the testing center, just like, other exams. And I felt more comfortable. So I studied and I went to the testing location, which went all smoothly. Even with the pandemic, it was okay. They took my picture. I was wearing a mask throughout the 2 hours, but it was fine with me. And I had no disturbances. As you can see, I have a dog at home. Yeah, she's staring at me like this. And because I stay home all the time, she would just, bark at random times. So I have no idea when she's going to interrupt me. So I didn't want that. And so it just eased my mind. And so I went to the testing locations. So to give you information, I took my exam on March 6th. So it was about less than 2 weeks ago. I wrote actually down, if you want to see my questions on the screen. So I actually wrote down after the exam just what I felt like was most on the exam. I know it kind of looks strange. Maybe it's reversed, but I can definitely share the questions that were on my exam mostly, and whoever wants it can just leave me a comment and I'll try to, share the questions with you. And just to give you, just bear with me. I know I wrote down the main keywords, what was covered on the exam, but not in the full length of questions that the actual exam was. So I will look at my screen and just explain main topics. So I felt like there were a lot of questions on the change model, and I'm pretty sure most of you know that already. I did when I listened to lots of YouTube videos, but in the back of my mind, I was thinking, okay, change, I mean, it's less difficult than other questions such as muscle questions or some questions on the artery and lung and the ventricle and atrium and things like that. So my mistake was I did not really focus on the change model questions, but I highly recommend that because on my exam I had about 10 to 15 questions probably on the change questions, such as, okay, imagine you meet a client who hasn't worked out yet but is thinking about going to the gym next month. What kind of stage is this client? And so it was kind of tricky because I did not really focus with the change model. I kind of had to guess, and so that was, if I could change something, then I would focus on change questions. The next thing, I had a few questions on the hard zone. For instance, I know there are 3 zones, right? Zone 1, Zone 3, and Zone 3, Zone 1 to 3. So I had one question that asked me what Zone 2 is defined. And I kind of found it hard because the way the 4 answers were given, it was very vague and it was confusing because there was a choice that says the definition is vigorous to very hard or light to moderate. So yeah, the way it's described. So, just be prepared that you should be able to know what Zone 2 defines. I had in my mind, for instance, just the heart rate, like what the percentage zone would be for, Zone 2. So I was thinking like by numbers, like 65 to 75% would be Zone 1, and then 76 to 85 would be Zone 2, and then 86 to 95 would be Zone 3. So things like that. But I think it's good, it's recommended to know, okay, what does it actually, how can you say it in other words? And then I had also a couple of questions, I would say maybe 5 on the pulling and pushing assessment, which is obvious. I had a lot of these questions on my prep exam, so I think I did pretty well on that. So just information to give you some hints, like for the pulling and pushing assessment, I know there's like various terms you can use, right? For overactive muscle, you can say short muscle, tight muscle, and then for underactive, lengthen, weaken. So don't get confused with the wording. I think it's also important that you have to know various descriptions for that, adjectives. And I had also a question, actually a few questions on the coronary heart disease. So what to look out for and what kind of intensity level is appropriate for someone who has a heart disease. So that was that came up more than I thought. And then also I had a question on carbs, how many percentage it should consist of my diet. And I also had, so I also wrote, I had no question on the recommended dietary average, like RDA or the highest tolerance intake level of an average healthy person. So nothing like that. And I also had a lot of questions on the code of conduct. So like a personal trainer, what can the person do? What ethic code should they keep? And that came more than I thought, about 5 questions probably. And then on the OPT model, which is of course you need to know, and which I did, and which is very important. But I was surprised that I had mostly questions on that were focused on phase 1 and 2 mostly. So I think it could be case by case. Some people might have other questions, but just be aware that they really just ask you specific question on certain phases. And I also had a question on the development process of young children, like what can young children, or what should they be contraindicated, like what should they not take, so things like that. And also I was surprised I had no question at all on the YMCA Rockport test. In the book, the self-guide, they explained a lot about how to proceed, right? Step 1, step 2, step 3, and like all the very specific explanation. And I also had that on my app that I use to prep for the exam. So I was mentally prepared to get a lot of questions on these, but nothing on that. And next one, I got questions on the running position, like when you sprint, like okay, what does your front mechanic look like? What does your back mechanic look like? So the dorsiflexion or plantar flexion, extension, and flexion. So that was being asked on the actual exam, and you should look at that. and also a lot of questions on sets. So when you have this graph and the table in the study guide that tells you how many sets you need to complete when you're in the stabilization phase, or like strength endurance or hypertrophy, maximal strength, and all of these questions. All questions were only focused on sets, so like no reps or but. And also among the sets question, there were lots of questions on resistance only. So I didn't have much questions on balance. I didn't have much question on flexibility. So I think this could be also, once again, case by case. Mine was focused on resistance mostly. I had a lot of questions on force couple questions. Not many, just I would say a few. So keep that in mind. I had many questions on the head protruding, lots of questions. What is the overactive? What is the underactive muscle? What is lengthened? What kind of exercise should you do to help with the overactive muscle? And also, next question was what are the benefits of working at a facility? So when you're a personal trainer, what kind of benefits would you have? And also, I had a few, like only, not too many, questions of the location of a certain muscle and how they're located. Like you would have two muscles, for instance, the posterior deltoid and psoas. So you would kind of explain like where the deltoid is compared to the psoas and things like that. So the location of muscles. I had questions on the strength endurance of the OPT model as well. I had also questions on balance training, and I was surprised I had also maybe 2 or 3 same questions on the CEU, like how you should what you have to continue doing. So the CEU question should be something you should keep in mind, and then the plane motion as well. So frontal, sagittal, or transverse. I had a lot of questions on the sagittal plane, maybe up to 5 questions, so know that. I had question on the 4-to-1 tempo, like when is it appropriate for the 4-to-1, when is it 2-to-2, so note the phase. I had maybe 3 questions on the artery and lung, like when the blood, where it flows to, and so yeah, no, just the basic. But I would say if you just read through the artery and lung parts on the study guide, you will be good to go. So nothing tricky, nothing mean or anything like that. And also I had also maybe 5 questions on the systolic and diastolic, which I was surprised that was same like change. I did not much focus on that, but I did read the text material the day before on the exam, so that was kind of helpful, and I kind of had to retrieve it just out of my hand. And to be honest, I wouldn't say I was really fully knowing what the difference between the two is, but I kind of had I know what the main concept is, so that should be enough, I think. And also, as I said earlier, activities and how to lengthen, especially when you have a lower cross syndrome. How do you lengthen the tight muscle, what to do. I had maybe like up to 10 questions, so please focus on that. I think it's really, really important. On nutrition, I had almost nothing on nutrition except maybe for 1 question. What is recommended if you want to burn fat and lose weight? Like there's this one part on the study guide where it says for those who want to get lean, for lean mass, to gain lean mass, or for those who are obese and who want to lose weight, just that part. And I think to divide eating 4 to 6 times a day is recommended. So just that part, try to go over, read that, memorize it, like okay, what to do. And what else? Yeah, as I said, code of conduct, what a personal trainer should not do. Definitely not, when you suspect any injuries or anything, always recommend to a physician. That's always the safe answer to go. And yeah, last but not least, I had also a lot of question on reflection, like what would you say when you reflect the client's like worries, or like what their concerns are, like affirmation, reflection, and what kind of support can you give them. And so I had about maybe 5 to 8 questions on that too. So overall, I would say there are certain topics that are really, really important and that are more covered than others, so try to just keep note of that. And Yeah, so I think that was about it on the question part, but now I want to also tell each chapter. So I would personally just write down what I found most important, and I'm someone who can memorize better if I write it down, and if I see my own handwriting. I know it's terrible, but still, I wrote it, so I guess my brain can memorize better. So I would just, write the key concepts, keywords, and I would do some drawing too that could help me because I'm a very visual person as well. So I kind of once I was done with each chapter, like I would afterwards just look at my notes and just read whenever I would have time. And I know I put some stars on some chapters when I think it's really, really important, so that helped me. And I would do this for each chapter, a few summarized points, and I have that for all 21 chapters. And once I was done with this, from the domain that I really found important, because the pulling and pushing assessments are really key of the NASM exam. So I had the domain, the table printed out, and I just had it like a flashcard, like not a flashcard, but I just put them together so I can keep it and I can refer to it really whenever I would need it, and I would just take it out. So I technically, like, for me, there was no real like strategy and memorizing what is the overactive, what is the underactive muscle. I know in some YouTubes, like, people would say, okay, try to memorize it by through a song, or just make up your own, image. But for me, I was just simply just looking at it, like 1,000 times, mainly just like to memorize actually this table in my mind. So that helped me. Yeah, I'm sure there are other ways. This is just one way of doing. And then what I also did is I printed out the domain 1 to 5, because I know to print out the whole book would be too much work, and I didn't want to spend extra money on buying. So I only printed out the domains, domain 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and that's basically it, what I had on hardcover. So yeah, that was quite helpful, I believe. And last but not least, what I want to point out is that the domain, and I think, yeah, the domains, they had the acute variables only in one table, and I'm someone, I had to differentiate them, so I just wrote it down personally, again, like by the training concept, so which is core, and then I wrote down all 5 phases, the set, tempo, and then exercise selection. Once again, bear my horrible handwriting. Then there is flexibility, there is the plyometric, there is balance, the resistance, and also the SAQ. So yeah, this is just one way of doing it. And also for the major muscles, like there's the agonist, synergist, stabilizer, and antagonist. So for some muscles, I had to draw again. Once again, I'm a very visual person, so this is just one way of doing, and I hope it could be of help. And whoever would need this note, I would more than gladly share it with you via image or upload if you need it. Hey guys, I just want to quickly say thank you so much for watching my video, and I do sincerely hope that my video gave you a little bit of useful advice on how to get your NASM CPT exam. I wish everyone out there who might be watching this video good luck, and just before I end this video, I just want to show you once again what your copy of certificate for the NASM CPT will look like, and what you'll get right after you complete your exam. This is just a paper certificate, but NASM will be sending you out the official certificate within 4 to 6 weeks after completion of your exam. So thank you so much, and if you liked my video, I would highly appreciate if you subscribe to my channel, and maybe also some thumbs up. Thank you so much. Have a good day.